If you had the goal of earning £5,000 a month from property,
Yeah.
and you were maybe sat here today with no properties, but you've got around £50,000 in capital.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's quite a big journey you've got to go on, but what direction would you take in terms of trying to get to that £5,000 a month with that £50,000 in capital?
Yeah, I mean, look, the first thing, I didn't do the traditional, go on loads of courses, understand, learn. I kind of learnt the hard way, which for me, I kind of regret in a way, because it did mean that it took me a lot longer to get going. So the first property I bought was 2015. I then ended up buying another 3 properties in 2018. And then 2019 was when we kind of went out and scaled big time. So there was a big gap, and that gap was all about learning, understanding, and just doing trial and error. And in all honesty, one thing that I would have liked to do is gone back and actually probably done more of a, not just investment in education, but actually trying to be more of a community. Because I think if you're part of a community, they support you, and I had no support whatsoever. So I think even if it wasn't just the education, it was the support side of things that I thought would have been great. So I think for me, I'll be probably trying to spend some of that with someone that I kind of think that I have a lot of shared value with. That's not necessarily just property. That could be a business person, someone that kind of has scaled or done a business. And that could be something which is indirect or direct. So it might be someone that doesn't do any training, but you go and you say, can I pay you for your time, right? There's loads of good business people out there. So that's the first thing I want to do, because I think without a plan, there's nothing else that you're going to be able to achieve. The second thing is, I'll probably, in my opinion, going back, I would not do buy-to-lets personally to start off with. I would first start to try and build that capital. So that 50K, I might spend 5, 10K, whatever, on the education side. That 40K, I'd probably look at trying to put that money into some kind of deal sourcing, deal packaging, something where I can put a bit of money into marketing, generate some leads, sell some properties, and actually try and create trading income. I'd first want to focus on the trading income. Now, once you've built up some trading income from there, that's when I'll start to look to put some of that money into buy-to-lets, because we all know buy-to-lets is all a long game. It's not about trying to earn enough money from it in cash flow. What it is about is cash flowing it and surviving for 20, 30, 40 years to then be able to sell it and build up that capital appreciation. You're only really going to become wealthy by capital appreciation, not from rental income, in my opinion. So I think for me, that's the step-by-step of what I'll do. Build up a trading business, which in my opinion, I think deal sourcing is a great trading business. You don't have to have loads of capital to get set up. Yes, you need investors and leads, but that can be built up. You can network, etc. And that's where the education side of things comes in, because if you're in a good network, there's going to be buyers there. And then eventually go for property investment, where it's more of a pension pot as opposed to kind of my day-to-day income.
Got it. Interesting. And I think that very much relates to me, because I started by going, right, I've got to get buy-to-lets. I've got a small amount of capital, and it was a real uphill battle for me, because I wasn't thinking about earning more money. I was thinking about, God, how can I get buy-to-lets when I've got no money? And it took me a while, and then I'm trying to raise, investor finance and doing joint ventures, trying different things. Whereas in actual fact, what I probably should have done was maybe started sourcing, maybe done some flips to build up that capital.
And so, I don't know if you remember, but I have this saying, which is like earn, amplify, invest, and then compound. So a lot of people, they earn money from their jobs, businesses, whatever it is. And what they end up doing is exactly what you did, put that straight into property. And you end up having a very slow journey of building up your property portfolio. Whereas if you've amplified that money first by creating more trading income, doubling it, tripling it, whatever, and then investing it, you'll find you'll be going a lot quicker, and you'll basically be able to really streamline your whole journey, really, of building up your portfolio.
So you do still believe in the model of investing
100%,
buy-to-let?
100%. Look, do I have as big of a portfolio as I set out to have when I first started? No, I wanted to get thousands. We got to about 100. We've kind of scaled that down slightly. We're at sort of 70 to 80 at any one time. But I still think that having that for the long term, property is always going to go up in value, as everyone knows. It's a really good asset. And it's one of these, you kind of set it and forget it. I don't know anyone that I've spoken to that's not said we regret our parents or whoever it is that, that sold those properties not hanging on to them. So sometimes just buying stuff and keeping it there, when you look at it 30, 40 years down the line, your kids will thank you for it. They'll be like, thank you for actually holding it and not selling it. And my dad was one of those people that, not because he wanted to, but by force, the recession sent him under, and he had loads of London properties, so prime city centre properties in London, Marble Arch, etc. And it was when interest rates went up to 18%.
Wow.
And he took his eye off the ball because he was traveling the world, stopped looking at asset management and, ticking off, do you get your rent every month? And basically ended up sending him under. So for me, it's trying to avoid all of that and make sure you can survive to make sure you get to where you want to get to for that capital appreciation. That could be a 30, 40 year liquidity event.
Nice. Was that in the 90s that he...
80s.
The
80s
late
and 90s.
80s.
Yeah, 80s slash
yeah.
90s. I think it was 89, wasn't it, roughly?
Yeah. My grandfather lost his properties at exactly the same time. So same reasons.
Difficult market.
Yeah. So in terms of your 70 to 80 properties, is that predominantly buy-to-lets, or I know you own some HMOs?
I'd probably say 70% buy-to-lets, 30% HMOs, but every single HMO we have is on a supported living contract or social housing. Nothing is being managed with private tenants or anything like that. That's primarily because our focus is on our trading business, so we don't have as much mind space to put into asset managing.
Yep.
So we're happy with lower returns, but actually not as much headache, not as much asset management involved in that.
And that's so that you can just put all the focus onto the business and then I guess obviously get more results from that.
Correct. Yeah, and as you know, with higher cash flow comes more problems, comes more operational involvement and everything else in between. And for us, we just thought, rather than doing that and trying to maximize everything that we've got, let's put all of our time and focus into the trading side of things and just have these buy-to-lets where you set them and forget them. Yeah, granted, you're going to have problems with some of them. It's not all going to be plain sailing. But I'd rather take on bigger problems that I get paid to solve, whereas here I'm not getting paid to solve these problems.
Yes.
So that's the reason why I've done that.
Makes sense. And so your main business is now trading properties,
Correct.
Which very much interests me. I've dabbled in it and find it a very exciting part of property because it's like the quick
The
part
adrenaline
of
rush.
property, the adrenaline rush. So I've got my slow part, the portfolio, and that kind of
Yeah.
ticks along in the background, and that still excites me. But I also like, getting the adrenaline.
The fast
rush.
money, yeah.
And I think I've really come to realise that I thought when I got into property, I thought I must love renovations. It must be that. But actually, I don't as much as I thought. I actually really love the transaction. I love reviewing the deal.
Yeah.
The adrenaline rush of securing something with a discount and securing that when no one else has found it, that side of it.
And even deal sourcing, how amazing is it when you get an email saying deal complete? Those are the small wins that you've got to celebrate along the way because there's never going to be this major event that people think is going to happen. I think these little wins of, everyone's pushing, you've just got it exchanged, you've just got it completed, and celebrating that is really, really key because if you have multiple of them, that's what ends up forming a pretty nice business, to be fair, when you've had multiple properties exchanged, completed, that you've worked on, and the whole team has a sense of fulfillment. It's like, I feel like all of that pushing got me to a result of, this has actually gone through. And the worst part is when it falls through. That's the negative side of things, right? But you've got to just be resilient and manage that.
True. No, I actually probably don't reflect enough on that. Like in terms of completions, we've had 3 this week, and I don't always stop and go, oh, that was really cool.
Yeah.